Tubers, Tubets, and of course my favorite group of all, crazy people. We are here today to give you an update on our house build, or lack of. And so I am here with my beautiful sister-in-law, Jing.
Hello, everyone.
And everybody knows the world famous baby May.
Hello.
All right, so here comes our goofy video. This is going to be an update on what happened since I last posted about our house 2 weeks ago. Here comes our video. Alrighty, kids. Well, before I get into the ugliness of the last 2 weeks, since I did a video, and I apologize, I haven't done a weekly video like I said I would, and I'm going to rephrase that now, right here, right now, and say I'm going to periodically update the house, because there's so many things, there's so many moving parts to it that I want to make sure they're all in order before I talk. All right, so before I get into the last 2 weeks and what these young ladies have been doing and what I've been doing, and things that have been going right and things that have been going wrong, I wanted to walk back in time and explain why I signed up with this guy in the first place. 8 months ago, I'll say, he first approached me. 7 months. Again, I can't remember all dates. He approached me at my front gate of my house, and I know him socially. I've had coffee with him a couple of times. I've been to his place. So he wasn't a stranger, and he came up to me and he said, "Hey Paul, I understand you got land. I would love to do a build for you, and in fact I've got a little mock drawing of what I thought you would like, and it even includes a YouTube studio for you." And I said, "Well, brother, I appreciate that, but I'm really not financially able to get going on this yet. Plus, May and I would be more comfortable once we get our title in hand and all that kind of happy stuff, right?"
Yes.
Okay. So he goes, "I get it." He says, "But why don't I just at least show you some of my work?" And I said, "Well, there's no harm, no foul in that." So we made an appointment. May and I went down to his office,
Yeah.
hopped in his car with him, and he drove us around to, I think, a total of over 2 days. I think a total of 7 or 8 different places.
Yeah.
Am I right, May?
Yes.
Okay. Somewhere in that neighborhood. Every place that we went to was to improve upon the plan that he had for me. So I would walk into a house, maybe it would be empty, there's nobody there except us, and I would say, "Well, I like this about the kitchen, but I don't like this about the bedroom. I like this about the closet, but I don't like that about the bathroom." And he didn't write anything down, he just made mental notes. And I told him the sizes that I want and what's important to me. And he was just listening, and on about half of the places that we went to, the owners were home. And I had an opportunity when the contractor was out of earshot. I would say, "Hey, what do you think of this guy?" And they said, "He's great. He does fantastic work. I mean, he's got a crew here. He's got a huge crew. Yada yada yada." They had nothing but accolades for him. They've since changed their tune, but that's again for later on in the video. So then the coup de grace was he took us to this great big complex where he's building one guy a castle and he's building another guy a compound with rentals and a house and a pool, and he's building some condos and he's building a store for the compound. It was a big operation, and there had to have been over 100 people working there. And it was so cool because one guy had on a black shirt, I think, one guy had on a red shirt, one guy had on a yellow shirt, and one guy had on a white shirt, different guys. And they signified who they were. So a guy in a black shirt, for example, was a plumber. A guy in a red shirt was an electrician. A guy in a white shirt was manual labor. And they each had a foreman in a yellow shirt. And then there was the big foreman that was overseeing the 3 foremen that were overseeing all these categories of workers. And nobody was sitting on their hands, and they were scurrying about, and they were busting a move, and they had equipment there. And I said, "Wow, he's got his own equipment." I go, "Do you own that cement mixer?" "Oh yeah." "Do you own this? Do you own that?" "Oh yeah, that's all my equipment." I said, "Well, that's awesome." And so we were duly impressed, or I was. And so he made the terms very attractive for me to sign. Not that much up front, not that much at the end. And so or majority of it at the end, and most of very little at the beginning, which I preferred. And so I said, okay, cool, let's do it. So we went in and we signed on June 8th. I've got notes down here because I can't keep track of all these friggin' dates. And so on June 8th, we signed a contract. Today is December 1st.
Yes.
And 2 weeks ago, we showed a video, which I'll link to this one, of how they've done maybe a week's worth of work to the place. And then after that video came out, I started to get emails and messages and phone calls and personal contacts with people who were, believe it or not, in the exact same situation we were in. Because here we were, call it 5.5 months into a build, and a week's worth of work has been done. And all of these people had the exact same complaint. And we had a little chat group that we created. I since deleted it, but I felt really bad for these people. Usually misery loves company. Not in this case. I wish I was the only one that was having a problem. It turns out that there is somewhere between 28 and 30 other people that are in the exact same situation as we are. He has started their project, he's collected money up front, and then he either ghosts them or he just doesn't do any work, and he's constantly, one thing that never changes is he's constantly over-promising and under-delivering to everyone. And he's a charmer. And anyone who has a problem with him, he just seems to smooth it over. Yeah, I've got that under control. It's coming. I'm sorry. It'll be there tomorrow. Blah, blah, blah. All right, so let's bring it back up to present day. So unfortunately, there's, call it 28, I think, unhappy campers just like us. And guess what? They signed a contract right about the same time we did. And they got the same dog and pony show. Some signed earlier when he wasn't even that busy. And so we concluded that he just took on too much business too fast and couldn't get to everybody. But that probably is part of the equation, but really isn't the heart of the problem. So let's go back to what we did. Out of nowhere, after I did the video, he called a meeting with me, and I was sick as a dog. I was sick all of October, and I was sick halfway through November. And so the tail end was in November. He sent 2 guys to my gate to say, the contractor wants to meet with you at your property. And I thought, well, this is odd. Why doesn't he just send me a message on my phone and say, let's meet? But I said, well, okay, but I don't want to go because I'm sick. I go, when does he want to go? They said today. I go, no, I got a fever. It ain't happening. So All Saints Day was, what day was that? When did we meet him? I'm sorry, it's hard for me to see because I've only got one eye that works. All right, November 5th, we met the contractor at the property because we had to wait for a holiday to end, which was called All Saints Day. So we met him at the property.
Yeah.
We never got out and walked and talked on the property. He just said, follow me. He was there in his truck. And he took us down to the municipality of the area that we're building in. And I'd never been to the municipality, so now I know where it is, right? And he had May sign 2 blank forms.
Yes.
And I said, what is this for? What are we doing here? He says, well, these are your permits. And I'm like, dude, you've had 5 months to get, you mean to tell me you don't have permits for this? And he said, wow. I said, you're working on the property, kind of. You got 2 guys that are digging ditches that are just, The only thing he ever really did is he brought a truck out one time and dug up a bunch of coconut trees, I think for 2 days. And that was the most effort that was ever expended on my property. All right, so we go there November 5th, and now I see where the municipality building is, and he gives me this song and dance, and he was trying to tell me a funny story, and I said, shut up, man. I'm not in the mood. I don't feel good. Let's just make this happen. And you need to get the friggin' permits. And I'm going to have them. Oh, and I asked him, I said, should I go down and buy a water meter? No, Paul, I've got one. I said, you do? Well, when are you going to install it? He said, today. I said, no, you're not. There's not enough hours left in the day to do that. And he said, well, no later than tomorrow. I'll have water up on your property. I said, okay, that sounds cool and groovy. And by now, I've already learned that just discount whatever this guy says. If his lips are moving, he's probably lying. So we didn't go back until the 8th. After that meeting, I went home, got back into bed, and I sweated out the fever until one day the fever just broke finally. Yeah. And I was able to move and groove. And we went out, I think, did we take Jing with us the first time? Yes, we did. Yes. We took Jing because she volunteered. Jing owns a home and has been through this rodeo. She knows how to get permits. She knows how to get water. She knows how to get power. She knows what to look for and who to talk to and what department to go to. Well, we're totally lost. So I said, well, let's go to the municipality ourselves and double check on this because there was no water, by the way. And we'll just check and see what's going on. And so they said, okay, you keep your ass in the car and we'll go up because if you go, everything's going to get all flustered. Let us deal with it. We know how to talk to these people.
Yes.
And I said, okay, fair enough. I'll stand outside. I'll go down the street and have a cup of coffee is what I did. Yeah, all right. So I came back a half hour later and they announced that there had been 3 complaints lodged against us by the barangay because we're building without a permit. In other words, building meaning digging some trenches. I said, this is terrible. So Jing said, I know how to deal with this, Paul. And we went from the municipality. They gave you a list of what you needed.
Yes.
Okay, so they gave her a list of, I think, 4 things that we needed to get a building permit. We said, well, let's take the tiger by the tail here. We'll get our own building permit. Screw this guy. And so we went to get the building permit, but we had to first go to the barangay and clear things up with them.
Yes.
And I think we paid 140 pesos or something for some document. And so we got clearance from him or his underling because he was out of town. But there was a guy there that could sign for him. That was the first trip. And then we went back to the municipality. They gave us these 4 things to get. I don't pretend to know what they are because the girls did it and it doesn't make any sense to me. But there was just this stack of stuff that we had to do. And one of them that I remember distinctly was some sort of document that needed to be signed at another municipality by the engineer and the architect, right?
Yes.
So you two, we had to go all the way back to our hometown of Valencia. You guys went up there and they signed off on that.
Yeah.
And after that was the last thing of the 4 that they said we had to do. The other 3, they took care of. I forget what they did. It's in a big pile of stuff. And supposedly we were going to go back and drop that off and get a building permit. Well, no. We went back the next day and dropped that off, and we did not get a building permit.
Yeah.
It turned out we needed like 4 more things, because that's just sort of like how the bureaucracy works out here. When May and I went to go get married, it was the same thing. It didn't shock me. Yeah. We kept going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It took us 4 months to get married license. So I said, well, we can get a building permit in a couple of 3 days. That's a win in my mind. So what did we do then? So they told us that we needed to go to Dumaguete to yet another entity and get a copy of the old title.
Yes.
I didn't know this, but at this building or in this office, this bureau, whatever it's called, because there's been so many places we've been, I get lost in them. They have a copy of every title except Manila, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they have copies of all the old titles in this one building. And May had to go up and sign a thing that transferred the old title into her name.
Yes.
And they had to run around and get copies and then a notary. We started both of these expeditions. We did this 2 days in a row. 8 o'clock in the morning is when we left the house. 4 o'clock in the afternoon is when we wrapped things up. And so we got all this crap. I call it crap, but it's all this necessary documentation. Copies of this, copies of that, notary here, signature there, approval for this, approval for that. And we took it all back, and they said, well, maybe on Monday. Today is Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's tomorrow that we find out.
Yeah.
One other thing that Jing did that saved me a ton of money was they said, to hook up your electric or to get a building permit, you have to have a building. You have to have a sketch of something. No blueprints had been dropped off at this place, right?
Yes.
You needed a blueprint.
It needs the blueprint.
Yeah, you need a blueprint. And I said, well, we've got blueprints. They said, that's for the wall. The only blueprint that we ever got was for the frickin' wall. So we were working on a wall approval also, and a building permit, and water, and electric. And we're trying to knock all this out in one fell swoop. Easier said than done. But we all three went home with a headache every day. And so, what did we do? So there's a barracks that's on the property. And most people, when I saw, or a lot of people at least, put what's called a kubo up.
A little kubo.
Okay. And that's like a little bamboo native house type of deal. You can buy, and they just bring it and drop it off. It's very small. And, but that signifies, or that counts as a building. Well, I asked her, how much does one of those things cost? She's like, well, 30 or 40,000 pesos, I think. I don't know.
Yeah,
I never checked
like
because
that.
I said, how about the barracks? The guy already built the barracks. Maybe they'll approve the barracks as the building. So what they did was they came back down to me and they said, okay, they're going to make the drawings.
Yeah.
They're going to be the architect. And they're going to draw what? They're going to draw the friggin' barracks. And that makes us legal. It's like a temporary permit.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was 3,500 pesos for that, get that going, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we paid the 3,500 pesos, which is like 60 bucks. And that allowed us to proceed forward with the rest of the documentation, the getting the title, the going here, going to lawyer offices to get notaries, making copies, wah, 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 wah. All right, so that takes us up to present day as to what we've been doing. Now, on, let's see, Tuesday, November 26th. Today is December 1st.
Yeah.
Between that time zone and after my video was released, whining about it like a little girl, the contractor started getting, remember I mentioned 28 people? And we all started hounding him. And he saw the video, I gotta believe. And they started hounding him and hounding him and hounding him. Some people lawyered up because, again, like I say, I hate to say misery loves company, but we had plenty of company in this deal. And unfortunately, some of them had been in this thing a lot longer than we had. They had started off months before us. And they, I think 5 or 6 of them have lawyered up with the same lawyer in town. And all they want to do is cancel. They just want to call breach of contract, give me back my money, or prorate it, or whatever. Well, when that all started to happen, the builder called a meeting in his office. He sent out a blast email, not a blast email, a blast message on Messenger to everyone concerned, except for those that lawyered up. He did not send it to, I found, and invited us all to go to his office. And that was on November 26th, where he addressed everyone's concerns, and then he spoke about how he was going to rectify everything and make everything whole. Well, not enough time has passed since that meeting has gone for me to tell you if he was good on his word or if it's just another fairy tale. I have had a number of people contact me since then and say, hey, did you get this? Did you get that? Some of the things that he promised, a new timetable, Some of us wanted more detailed information as to what was included in the deal, etc., etc. I lost my temper in the meeting, but it is what it is. And so the next video that I do on this will either be in a couple of days or in another 2 weeks, because I want to see what actually happens since this meeting, and I want to tell you what was said in the meeting, and I want to tell you what we were promised, and I want to just, not enough time has gone by. I want to be fair and give the guy an opportunity to make us whole. And speaking of fair, there's two sides to every story. There's my story and there's his story. So I want this to go on record that there's an open invitation for this certain builder here in town. If he would like to ever come on my channel and tell his side of the story, he has an open forum. I'll give him I'll put on the camera, I'll give him a microphone, I'll shut my mouth, and I'll just let him talk. And I promise not to debate him. If he wants to come on, he's more than welcome to. All right, so I know this isn't a complete video, but we don't have a complete story to really finish it. So that's it. We are going to hopefully have a building permit come tomorrow after 1:30, because today's Sunday.
Yes.
And tomorrow is Monday.
Monday.
See? And I was shocked at how many people came out of the woodwork on this deal. And you don't have to look too far to find somebody smarter than me. But a lot of these people, most of these people, okay, I'll just admit, all the people that also joined in are smarter than I am. And so I know I did a stupid thing. I know that I ran on faith. I thought that I did due diligence by seeing all these properties that he was doing, talking to current customers who all expressed how admiration for the guy and happy with the progress that they were making. I have since visited them, I will say that, since the initial contact, and they're part of the 28 that are pissed off. Because anyway, he's just sort of like come to a grinding halt. There's many theories as to what's going on. I don't do theories. I like to do facts only. So once I can verify something, then I'll talk about it. But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. This is what we did. This is how it went down for 60 bucks, basically, and a lot of gasoline and a lot of time, many hours, many different places back and forth. God bless Jing, because she knew how to sort through the nonsense,
yes.
Who to talk to, how to talk to them, yes. The whole enchilada. She was really a lifesaver in this. And here we are, 3 people. One of them knows what they're doing, 2 don't. It's me and my wife. And we're going to have the aforementioned permit, water, power in about a week's worth of time, really. We're just waiting for the smoke to clear on what we've done previously. Hopefully on Monday we'll walk in, they'll say, okay, you're cool, and then we'll be able to put a sign up that says permit number.
Yeah.
And then we can contact the electric company. I think May's got to go through a class on that. We've agreed to go ahead and do that. He promised to put the electricity in his name and transfer it to hers. As far as I know, he hasn't done any of that. And we'll just keep on keeping on. I know a lot of you guys have built houses, and none of you are shy in telling me what I did wrong, and I'm a big boy, I can take it. So feel free to beat me up in the comments. Just be nice to the ladies, okay? All right, we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.